I'm about to close this laptop, slip it into my backpack, and you're going to lose your mind when you see how thin it gets. This isn't a laptop. It's a full desktop PC with a mechanical keyboard and an ultrawide monitor, and somehow everything folds completely flat. No external parts, no compromises. Just watch this. The device I'm holding is called the keyboard. Yes, all lowercase, and yes, that's the actual name. Before you click away thinking this is another crowdfunded vaporware situation, understand that I've been using this as my primary machine for 3 weeks straight. Every email, every edit, every line of code. This thing has replaced my entire desktop setup, and I need to show you why nearly 5,000 people threw almost $500,000 at this project before it even shipped. Let me take you back 6 months. I was traveling between 3 different offices each week, and my backpack was a disaster. There was the gaming laptop, chunky, heavy with a keyboard that felt like typing on stale bread. Then I carried a separate mechanical keyboard because I actually value my fingers, a mouse, charging cables for everything, an external SSD because the laptop's storage was soldered and already full. My chiropractor was thrilled, my back wasn't. The worst part? Every single time I sat down to work, I was setting up. Plug this in, connect that, wait for the displays to recognize each other, and when I needed to move, pack it all up again, disconnect 7 different cables, pray nothing got left behind. I wasn't working, I was managing a mobile IT department. Then one night, deep in a YouTube rabbit hole, I stumbled across a Kickstarter campaign that looked absolutely bonkers. Someone had designed a mechanical keyboard with a computer built into it. Not a Raspberry Pi toy, not some underpowered streaming stick. A full desktop PC with current generation components, upgradable parts, and professional-grade connectivity. The campaign asked for $6,000. They raised $487,000. That's not just meeting a goal. That's validation that thousands of people were done with the same compromise I was living. When the keyboard finally arrived, the box was smaller than I expected. I thought they'd forgotten half the shipment. Then I opened it, and everything made sense. What you're looking at is a 13-inch device that weighs just under 4 pounds. The bottom half is a proper mechanical keyboard, and I mean proper. Hot swappable switches, full-size keys with actual travel, none of that low-profile nonsense that laptop manufacturers keep trying to convince us is acceptable. The top half is where things get interesting. There's a screen embedded above the keyboard deck. When you fold it open, you get a 21:9 ultra-wide display. When you're done working, you fold it closed, and the entire thing becomes flat. Laptop thin, backpack ready. The hinge mechanism uses a friction design that holds the screen at any angle you want. No floppy displays, no constant readjusting. The chassis is milled aluminum, not plastic with a metallic finish. Not magnesium alloy that dents if you look at it wrong. Actual aluminum that disperses heat and survives getting tossed into bags. Every port is reinforced. Every seam is tight. This was designed by people who actually carry their computers around, and you can feel that in every detail. But here's what separated this from every other portable computer I've tested. The bottom panel comes off with 6 screws. Underneath, you'll find 2 full-size SODIMM slots for RAM, 2 M2 slots for NVMe storage, and a cooling system you can actually clean. Nothing is soldered, nothing is proprietary. When this thing needs an upgrade in 3 years, you don't buy a new computer. You buy new parts. Let's talk about what's actually running this thing. The processor is an AMD Ryzen AI 9HX370. That's the current generation, 8 cores, 16 threads, with integrated graphics that aren't completely useless. This isn't some mobile chip that throttles the moment you open a browser. This is the same silicon you'd find in high-end laptops that cost $3,000. The base configuration ships with 32 GB of DDR5 RAM running at 5400 MHz. You can upgrade that to 64 GB yourself because, again, it's not soldered to the board. Storage starts at 512 GB, but supports up to 8 TB across both M2 slots. I installed a 4 TB drive in the second slot, and the whole process took maybe 10 minutes. Now we need to talk about the port situation, because this is where the keyboard becomes something completely different. On the left side, you've got two USB 4 ports running at 40 gigabits per second. That's Thunderbolt speed without the Intel tax. There's a USB-C port with a 100-watt power delivery that charges the device and can also power external displays. HDMI 2.1 handles up to 4K at 120 Hz if you want to dock to a proper monitor. Then there's this port on the right side. It's called OCuLink, and most people have never seen one because they're usually reserved for workstation-class machines. OCuLink is external PCI Express running at full desktop bandwidth, 16 lanes of PCIe Gen 4. What does that mean in actual English? You can plug in a desktop graphics card through an external enclosure, and it runs at full speed. No bandwidth bottlenecks, no Thunderbolt limitations. I connected an RTX 4000 series GPU, and the performance was identical to having it installed in a desktop tower. The connectivity doesn't stop there. Wi-Fi 7 means you're getting gigabit wireless speeds if your router supports it. Bluetooth 5.3 handles all your peripherals. And there's an LTE modem option if you need internet anywhere. No hunting for coffee shop passwords, no tethering to your phone, just built-in connectivity that actually works. The display is where some people might feel underwhelmed on paper. It's a 13.3-inch panel running at 1920 by 720 resolution. That's ultrawide format, 21 by 9 aspect ratio. It's not 4K, it's not retina density. But here's what matters. At 13 inches, the pixel density is sharp enough that you won't see individual pixels unless you're actively looking for them. The panel is IPS with decent color accuracy and enough brightness to work outdoors. It supports 10-point touch, which sounds gimmicky until you're scrolling through documents and realize it's actually faster than reaching for the trackpad. Specs only matter if they translate to real work, so I spent 3 weeks using this as my only computer. First test, video editing. I loaded up a 4K timeline in DaVinci Resolve with multiple layers, color grading, and effects. The integrated graphics handled playback without dropping frames. Rendering was slower than my desktop with a dedicated GPU, obviously, but it was completely usable. I edited an entire YouTube video on this thing while sitting in an airport terminal. Second test, development work. I spun up Docker containers, ran local development servers, had VS Code open with multiple extensions running. 32 gigabytes of RAM meant I could have Chrome with 40 tabs open, Spotify playing, and Slack running without any slowdown. The keyboard itself made coding actually enjoyable. I'm using Gateron yellow switches, but you can swap them for whatever you prefer. Cherry MX, Kyle, whatever feels right to you. Third test, gaming with the eGPU connected. I docked the keyboard to my desk setup, plugged in the OCuLink cable to an external GPU enclosure with an RTX 4070 inside, and launched some games. Cyberpunk, at high settings, 100+ frames per second. The external GPU ran at full desktop performance because OCuLink doesn't have the bandwidth limitations that Thunderbolt does. When I was done, I unplugged one cable, closed the lid, and everything fit back in my bag. Fourth test, actual travel. I took this on a 4-day trip with just a backpack, no laptop bag, no separate peripherals, the keyboard, a charger, a mouse, and my headphones. That's it. Setting up in hotel rooms took 30 seconds. Fold open the screen, plug in power, done. Working from coffee shops meant I actually had a keyboard I didn't hate. The ultra-wide screen gave me enough horizontal space to have code on the left and documentation on the right without constant window switching. Battery life is where we need to be honest. Running normal productivity work, web browsing, documents, light coding, I got about 5 hours. Push it harder with video editing or compiling code and that drops to 3 hours. This is not an all-day machine if you're doing heavy work. But here's the thing, you're running a desktop processor with desktop performance. The 70-watt-hour battery is doing its best, but physics is physics. I carried the charger and accepted that serious workloads need serious power. The thermal performance surprised me. Under sustained load, the CPU hit 85 degrees Celsius, which sounds hot but is actually well within spec. The aluminum chassis acts as a giant heatsink, so heat dissipates instead of cooking your lap. The fans are audible under load, but not obnoxiously loud. Sitting in a quiet library, people will definitely hear them if you're rendering video. But it's not jet engine levels of noise. Let's address what this device isn't, because honesty matters more than hype. This is not light. At 3.7 pounds, it's heavier than most Ultrabooks. If your priority is carrying the absolute lightest computer possible, this isn't it. The keyboard and cooling system add weight. That's the trade-off for upgradability and performance. The screen resolution will bother some people. 1920 by 720 isn't sharp by modern standards. If you're used to Retina displays, this will look slightly less crisp. For me, working with text and code all day, it was perfectly fine. For photo editing where you need to see every pixel, you'll probably want to dock to an external 4K monitor. The price is substantial. The base model starts at $2,600. That's before you add extra RAM or storage. You can build a desktop PC with better specs for less money. You can buy a laptop and a separate mechanical keyboard for less money. But you can't get desktop upgradability, mechanical switches, and ultrawide screen in a single foldable package anywhere else at any price. This also isn't for everyone. If you're happy with your MacBook, great. If you don't care about mechanical keyboards, this is overkill. If you never need to upgrade your RAM or storage, you're paying for features you won't use. The keyboard is for people who are frustrated with existing options and willing to pay a premium to solve that frustration. Let's put this in perspective against what else exists. A MacBook Pro with similar specs costs about the same, but you get a better display and longer battery life. What you don't get is upgradability, a mechanical keyboard, or OCuLink connectivity. You're locked into Apple's ecosystem, and when something breaks or becomes obsolete, your only option is buying a new machine. Gaming laptops give you more raw performance for the price. You can get dedicated graphics, faster processors, better screens. But they're heavier. The keyboards are mediocre, and good luck fitting one in a normal backpack. They're also loud, hot, and designed to be replaced every few years rather than upgraded. Traditional desktop replacement laptops offer some upgradability, but they're enormous. 17-inch screens, terrible battery life, and they still force you into laptop keyboards. The keyboard gives you desktop upgrade paths in a form factor you can actually travel with. The real comparison is against carrying multiple devices. My old setup was a laptop, external keyboard, mouse, and dongles. Combined weight was over 6 pounds. Combined cost was over $3,000. Combined setup time at each location was 5 minutes. The keyboard replaces all of that with a single device that's lighter, faster to deploy, and costs less. What you're really paying for is consolidation. One device, one charger, one thing to keep track of. For people who move between locations constantly, that simplicity has tangible value. The fact that it doesn't compromise on typing experience or upgrade potential makes it even more compelling. The OCuLink port changes the entire value proposition. Being able to dock to a desktop GPU for intensive work, then undock and carry the same machine on the road, that's something no other portable computer offers at this price point. Thunderbolt eGPUs exist, but they sacrifice performance due to bandwidth limitations. OCuLink runs at full PCIe speeds. After 3 weeks of using the keyboard as my primary computer, here's my conclusion. This is the first portable computer that doesn't feel like a compromise. The keyboard is genuine mechanical switches that make typing enjoyable. The screen gives me enough workspace to actually be productive. The performance handles professional workflows without throttling. And when I need more power, I can dock it to external graphics and storage without sacrificing speed. Is it perfect? No. Battery life could be better. The screen could be sharper. It's heavier than Ultrabooks. But those aren't design flaws. They're trade-offs made in service of upgradability and performance. The keyboard is for people who value those priorities over absolute minimalism. Right now, the keyboard is available for pre-order directly from their website. The base configuration at $2,600 ships in 8 to 12 weeks. Higher spec models with more RAM and storage are available if you need them. I've put the link in the description. And no, this isn't sponsored. I bought this with my own money because I genuinely needed it. If you're someone who travels with a full computer setup, who values typing experience, who wants the option to upgrade in 3 years instead of replacing everything, this deserves serious consideration. It's not trying to be the lightest or the cheapest. It's trying to be the most capable portable workstation you can actually carry. And in that goal, it succeeds. Drop a comment and tell me what you think. Would you trade battery life and weight for mechanical keys and upgradability? Are you Team MacBook or Team Desktop replacement? And if you've been following the keyboard since the Kickstarter, I want to hear about your experience. Next week, I'm comparing this to the Huawei MateBook, which takes the completely opposite approach. Ultra-thin, ultra-light, maximum battery life. It'll be interesting to see how different priorities create different machines. If that sounds useful, subscribe so you don't miss it. The keyboard proves that portable computers don't have to force you into compromises. Sometimes the best solution is refusing to choose.